Hey guys, it's Lame with Tim's Nation. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about the Iron Hands list I'm bringing today against DJ's Necrons. I thought I was done playing Iron Hands. I gave them a try, but then I ended up with the Iron Father Pharaohs model, and I decided, I just got to try to run it. So we're actually doing Iron Hands today. It's Iron Hands. There's no other detachment, no other army, no Blood Angels Iron Hands or Iron Templar or Black Templars Iron Hands. Nope. Iron Hands. So today the list is built around a couple things. First of all, I have Pharaohs. He doesn't really, his buff is that he can lead Gravis Marines. So he can join a Gravis Marines unit, and he gives them a 5-up feel no pain. So I'm going to put him with some aggressors today and put him in a Land Raider and send them up the table and hope they do some work. We'll see how that goes. And then the other part of this list is the Whirlwinds. I'm trying to make the Whirlwinds really strong in this list. I've used them before with Iron Hands, but with this, I'm giving them the speeder support so they can ignore cover and give them +1 to wound against vehicles and monsters. So really, there's just 3 big components to this. There's aggressors with Pharaohs inside a Land Raider. There's 3 Whirlwinds with the Tech Marine that gives them lethal hits. And the speeders to support them to make sure they do the work. And then there's also 3 3-man squads of Plasma Scepters. So it's actually kind of a simple list. We'll see how it performs today. I've played it a couple times. It works pretty well. The last 2 times I played it, I totally forgot to use the Iron Hands rule to give me one either a hit or a wound reroll for each unit every time it attacked. So I totally forgot about that for 2 whole games. Make sure I don't forget about it. I know you can't communicate with me through the comments, but try real hard to send those positive vibes to me so that I do not forget about that rule. And also make sure I don't forget about the Whirlwinds causing battle shock. That's something I always forget about too. But let's go through the list together, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit of how it's going to function and how we do today. All right, here it is. So today's Iron Hands. We have 4 characters. We have the Calidus Assassin. You know what the Calidus Assassin does. If you don't, then I'll tell you. She can pick up and drop down every turn. At the end of every one of my opponent's turns, she can pick up and then deep strike on my turn. She also increases the cost of one of my opponent's battle tactic stratagems by 1 CP, which I pick after he uses it. She can fight all right and shoot all right. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage. She does fight first, so if anybody gets cheeky and tries to charge her, she will get to swing first and might do a little damage. But Calidus is great for secondary and primary play. We've got Iron Father Pharaohs himself. So Pharaohs, he's going to be joining the aggressors today. And like I said, I got the model. I think this is the only Iron Hands specific model GW has right now. So it took me to get 1 model to have an official Iron Hands army. But what he does, he is a Tech Marine, so he does give a vehicle +1 to hit and repair for, I believe, flat 3, because he's fancy. He's a 95-point Tech Marine as opposed to a 55-point regular Tech Marine, so he is a little bit better in some ways. He does have his Gorgon's Wrath Heavy Bolter. It's a pretty decent heavy bolter. It is sustained 2 and hits on 2s. And because he's joining the aggressors, he may get some extra AP when he fires that thing at the closest target, because the aggressor squad gets that bonus AP. His special ability, of course, is he repairs vehicles and gives 1 +1. But he also, anytime he leads a unit, he gives that unit 5-up feel no pain, which is significant because he is a Gravis Armor Marine. So he can lead aggressors, eradicators, heavy intercessors, that sort of thing. So we're going to see what he does with the aggressors. By himself, he doesn't have any buffs that change the aggressor's damage output, other than the fact that he does get 8 attacks. He has a lot more swings than a regular Tech Marine. He has 6 attacks that are strength, I believe, strength 5, AP2, 2 damage. And he's got 2 that are strength 8, AP2, 3 damage. So he can contribute some punching in the combat phase. We'll see how he does today. Then we've got 2 Tech Marines. I've got an old school Resin Finecast one here, and then we've got a Primaris Tech Marine. The Resin one, he will be the one we give the enhancement Adept of the Omnissiah. This just means that once per battle round, he can 0 out a failed armor save for a vehicle within 6 inches of him. So he's going to be following the Land Raider up the table to try and keep it from getting popped before the aggressors and Pharaohs get delivered into sweet combat range. So he's going to be trying to keep that Land Raider alive. Then we have the Primaris Tech Marine. He's going to have the Target Augury Web enhancement. This gives all vehicles within 6 inches of him lethal hits. And yeah, he's going to be babysitting 3 whirlwinds and hopefully making them do a lot more damage than they would otherwise. So those are our characters. Moving on, we've got 1 5-man of Incursors here. Now remember, Incursors, they do have a scout move, and their bolters do ignore cover, but after they shoot, they pick a target that they shot, and then the rest of your army gets +1 to hit against that for that shooting phase. Now I'm going to use them to support probably the Plasma Inceptors. The Whirlwinds will probably be going into the Oath of Moment target, and so basically I'm giving the Inceptors the ability to hit something else better on 2s rather than 3s. I usually wouldn't take these guys because for 25 more points, I would just take 3 more Inceptors. I could take another 3-man squad or bump a 3-man squad to 6, but I just didn't have the points today. So we do have the Incursors in there, and they might be able to get out on an objective early, maybe contribute some that way, but we'll see how they do. Next, we do have the 6-man break of Aggressors. These are Bolt Storm Aggressors, so they put out a ton of shots, and they do fight pretty well. As I said, Pharos is going to be joining these guys to make them extra durable. And then we do have 3-man squads of Plasma Inceptors. So Plasma Inceptors, as you know, they deep strike just outside of 3 inches. Now, I prefer the Plasmas to the Bolter Inceptors in both cases. You just need that extra AP. There's so many times I've seen Bolter Inceptors just whiff because they're only AP 1. And so many times you're shooting at something in cover anyways, and the AP 1 is negligible. So, yeah, 3 Plasma Inceptor squads. These guys will be deep striking, hopefully scoring some secondaries for me, getting on objectives, and of course doing some damage because their plasma guns are twin linked, so they can put out quite a bit of damage and don't need to rely on Oath of Moment so much. Next, we have 3 Whirlwinds. So the Whirlwinds are going to be, they're doing their thing. They have a 72-inch range and direct fire, and they put out a bunch of shots. They get D6 plus 3 shots with blast, so they can throw some bombs. Strength 8, AP 2, 2 damage. And, of course, they do have a Storm Bolter and a Hunter Killer Missile. And they cause battle shock tests when they hit an infantry unit. So, as I said, I got to remember to make sure I use this. Sometimes it's not super relevant, but a lot of people are running this Ultramarines Vanguard list where they pick up one of their units, like the unit of Centurions. And if you tag them and make them fail a battle shock test, they can't pick them up because they can't use this tread on them. So it can be relevant in some cases, especially if you're playing against an opponent who can use a stratagem at the end of your turn to pick something up or move something or do an action of some sort to be reactive. So I need to keep that in mind. Next, we've got the 2 speeders. We've got the Storm Strike and the Thunder Strike. Nope, the Hammer Strike and the Thunder Strike. I always forget which one does which. I have to keep the cards that I have for them right on top of them. So the Hammer Strike is the one with the Meltas. And after you shoot something with this, the rest of your army will ignore cover when shooting at it. So it's a good way to take away cover. And then the other one, the Thunder Strike, it's got the Lascan on the front. After it shoots something, the rest of your army, and after it shoots a vehicle or monster, the rest of your army will get +1 to wounding instead. So it's another way to make sure I'm doing the work into the DJ's army and making sure I take advantage of the Whirlwinds. Both speeders have the ability to deep strike, so they will be deep striking today, hoping to get eyes on the targets. They're going to essentially buff up the Whirlwind shooting. And last but not least, we're debuting my Land Raider. He's almost done. Got the paint on him, but I got this one off a lot of stuff from eBay, and he did not have any sponson weapons on him. This is a Land Raider Redeemer today, so he does have the Flame Storm cannons. So he's going to be delivering the aggressors and Pharos in their danger close, and he's going to be doing some work. He's a great subject for the Overwatch strat because each of his Flame Storm cannons puts out D6 plus 3 shots. So the 2 of them is 2d6 plus 6 shots, strength 6, AP 2, 2 damage, ignoring cover, a really strong profile. So we'll see if they get in there and get to do that. And of course, because the Land Raider has so many wounds, if he explodes, he does D6 mortals to everything near him. So I'm hoping I'm going to throw this Land Raider up the table, get it right in the middle of DJ's army, and he's going to kill it, and then I'm going to get to use the Iron Hand strat to auto-explode your vehicle, and hopefully it blows up gloriously, and does some damage to the Necrons. We'll see. We'll see if I get a chance to do that today. So that is the list. All right, like I said, really just three main parts to it. We've got the Whirlwinds, supported by the Speeders and the Tech Marine, making them extremely strong Whirlwinds. We've got the Plasma Inceptors that are going to be dropping in to score objectives and to do damage. And then we've got the Aggressors with Pharaohs inside the Land Raider. The Tech Marine that allows you to zero out a failed armor save will be accompanying that Land Raider, just trying to keep it alive. The Land Raider is, of course, super durable because it's got a 2-up armor save, T12, 16 wounds, but you can use both smoke and armor of contempt on it. So you can make it -1 to hit, and you can give it the armor of contempt. So there's adding that into the zeroing out of failed armor saves means it's very likely it's going to survive at least a turn so that I can deliver the aggressors where I want them, which is charging right in and fighting right in the middle of DJ's army. Yeah, so we're going to see if that happens today. Hopefully they don't get aced too quickly. Hopefully the Doomstalkers don't get eyes on it too quick. They're only AP3, so again, if I pop smoke and the armor of contempt and I'm in cover, I should be safe, at least for a turn or two. I'm really hoping to see the aggressors get in there and fight and Pharaohs do some work. And of course, I love it when vehicles die near the Tech Marines and the Tech Marines get extra angry and get those extra attacks. We'll see if that comes off today. So follow me over the battle report. See if I get to do all these things that I've been talking up. See if I get to actually do these things I want to do today. See how it performs against the Necrons and see how this Canoptek Court Necrons perform. And I'll catch you later.